Let us start the new year off right, shall we? Today it's time for a best of 5 series in professional Starcraft 2, a Terran versus Protoss, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Curious Minds LE. And spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the red Protoss probes, we have one of the most promising players for the new year, and his name is MaxPax. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCV is an absolute household name in the Starcraft community for over a decade now. From Germany, we are looking at HeroMarine's main command center. Now, this is indeed going to be my very first cast for 2022 and my very first YouTube video for the new year as well. So I do want to take a moment here to wish every single one of you a happy new year. I hope that 2022 is going to be awesome for you. And I hope that in general, it'll be, I mean, maybe this is a bit of a low bar to set, but I hope in general, it'll be a little bit better than 2020 and 2021 were. At the very least so far, things are seemingly What? No, Gabe! I was gonna say things are seemingly relatively positive. I mean, Gabe right there, I guess he just spam clicked on one of the, what was that, the cleaning pot? And at some point, if you do that often enough, it does explode. This goes for every single critter in the game, it seems, or at the very least a lot of them. I know it goes as well for the dogs on Berlingrad, which I was taught by Harstem. Apparently, if you like spam click oh man, I shouldn't be telling you guys this. It's a sad way to start the new year. It's a sad way to start the new year, HeroMarine. This is just bad luck, my man. Anyways, as I said, HeroMarine, an absolute household name. Is this one gonna explode as well? Okay, looks like that room buff for now, at the very least, is gonna be safe. Like I said, HeroMarine, an absolute household name in the Starcraft community for literally over a decade now. The guy's very good. One of the highly ranked Terran players from the European servers. And while these days, I would say Clem is probably a little bit better overall. HeroMarine is definitely still a stock standard Terran player who's very good at just, yeah, playing normal games of Starcraft. I know that this is a very common thing to see at the professional level, but it's extremely difficult to actually pull off in your own matches. Now, one of the players I am keeping a very close eye out on in 2022 is definitely MaxPax. So at the beginning of last year, I would say that MaxPax was a name that many people had heard of, but they probably didn't really know exactly how good he was. And while there was obviously the MaxPax build, right? That Terran versus Protoss build that he likes to go for every once in a while, where you build like a pylon inside of your main base, and then like a pylon on the other side as well as a gateway right there. So the build order is pylon into pylon, which technically doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Anyways, people were maybe familiar with that build order, but MaxPax has been, yeah, he's been improving extremely quickly. So, over the last couple of months, he's been dipping his toes into the top 10 in the world overall, according to Aligalek, which is ridiculously impressive. And even though he hasn't really won any premier tournaments just yet, I do think those are the correct words to use. I do think it is just a matter of time until he will win a premier event. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if by the end of the year, MaxPax is going to be considered to be one of the very best players in the world. Anyways, he's gonna have to win against MaxPax right here, or sorry, against HeroMarine here first. This is, by the way, the semi-finals of a recent ESL Open Cup. I have no idea if the games are gonna be any good, but in my mind, yeah, MaxPax and HeroMarine are very evenly matched right now, so we should be in for some very good StarCraft. He's just trying to snipe one of the Marines here. He really wants to get it. I think it could try, but then he's probably gonna lose some of the base health right there on one of those Adepts as well. A Hellion did go across. Ooh, nice body blocking right there by Probius. Probius looking mighty thick here in the new year already. Making sure that that Hellion wouldn't be able to drive into the main base. And it is going to be a little bit tricky right now for MaxPax to figure out what's happening without dropping a scan inside of the main base. So he'll probably just be playing very safe instead. He'll probably go for a third command center here at a reasonable time as well. But for now, the Terran player is going to be in the dark. Constant scouting right there with the Adept shade as well. Did one of the Adepts go down? I don't think so, no. That'd be very sloppy. Third Nexus, though, already coming up at the 9 o'clock position. And it is going to be a bench. It's going to be a Banshee opener right here from HeroMarine. As you can see, the rally point right there is set all the way towards the top right-hand corner. Although, I think that maybe Max may have just seen a glimpse right there of that Banshee as well. And honestly, whenever you're going, Banshees into someone who's going Blink, it's really not quite ideal for you at all. There's already a robo facility done, of course, as well, and I'm expecting an observer shortly right here after that very first prism. So, I mean, Cloak is still going to be a little while away. As long as he gets some sort of detection, he should be good. Although the Hellion right there did get 2 worker kills, so at the very least, that's something. Either way, Banshee cloaking is going to finish up. No observer out just yet, and no proper form of detection yet either. It is going to be double Banshees, so HeroMarine seemingly sending one of them over in the direction of the third base, judging by the rally point there. Even a third Banshee's coming up, and then one going into the main base as well. There's the observer. Rally point of the robo facility so far is set to the other side of the map. It looks like MaxPax wants to be aggressive right here with the prism, but he's going to lose a lot of probes if he decides to do so. Alright, so here we go. Blink into the natural expo right there. It does get one of the siege tanks here in time. There's still a bunker up, though. That one is going to force these stalkers back for the time being. Here goes the cloak Banshee inside of the main base. Absolutely no detection. Observer, okay, gets recalled into the main base. But at the same time, the second Banshee now has arrived over at the third as well. Okay, probes are going to be pulled over there. 5 workers go down so far. Brilliant crisis management, all things considered here by Mr. MaxPax, but still needs to be so careful here because he's going to lose a lot of probes if he's not. Honestly, this push right here from Terran also doesn't mess around. Imagine if that second siege tank would still be alive with this army. I feel like that might just be a lethal push. Still though, despite the fact that most of this was, completely catching the Protoss player off guard, this is still 13 workers going down. The Banshees still live as well, so they're gonna be ready to fight another day as well in a little while, and this is not looking so great anymore for the Protoss at all. Great movement here by HeroMarine as well, cycling those units around. He's bringing the third Banshee here to the middle of this army too. Observer not available over here, so the Banshee on the left side of the screen is going to continue working on those workers for a little while longer. And even if HeroMarine doesn't win the game right here, right now, which it almost seems to be, he's at a absolutely massive advantage, right? Good pickup control right here by MaxPax. Fair enough. But that's too many workers. Like, 26 workers at this stage in the game is far too many. I mean, Max could try and win with his next counterattack right now. But, I mean, the third command center is still safely inside of the main base right here for HeroMarine. He's going to add on his additional production structures here as well. This game is as good as over. Still, he's going to try. I think it's not a bad idea. Obviously, Protoss players can occasionally pull rabbits out of hats with the Warp Prism control and the Blink Stalker micro. But overall, I mean, how many siege tanks are we on? It's just the one for now. Second siege tank is about, I would say, 70% or so of the way done. First tank is inside of the natural, so at the very least, MaxPax right here is making the right call, but he's gonna need to deal so much damage in order to justify this. Well, this is a scary warpin. There's an Immortal here in the mix as well. Second siege tank just rolled out of the factory. Okay, it looks like it will be able to get to safety. Oh my god, if he actually wins this... No, Max. I mean, that's a lot of workers going down. At the same time, by the way, there is a Banshee once again over at the third base of our Protoss player. My god, no way. Are you for real? I mean, obviously, Gabe did lose a lot of his army there. Blink towards the low ground as well. Siege tank ends up going down. The Immortal already has 5 kills, and there's nothing really to contest it. I mean, the Marauders are going to try their very... No way. Alright, well, I guess if the Prism is all the way over there, you're going to lose the Immortal. But that is so many SCVs actually falling here. Did MaxPax just pull a rabbit out of a hat in the very first game I'm casting this year? I mean, sure, that wasn't necessarily GG. But I did feel like this was an absolute desperation move. Oh, yeah, siege tank, like, spawning right there with his back against the wall as well. The Banshee, in the meantime, over at the third base was cleaned up. And despite the fact that we started off this game with HeroMarine killing like 30+ workers, it's actually MaxPax who wins. Alright, so that wasn't the ending I expected to game number 1. But MaxPax magically pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Quite the magician right there, and beautiful control, obviously, right? His micro is actually very good these days. He never really struck me as, like, the best micro player in the world, but if you would have covered up the names there, I could have very well guessed Parting, right? So Parting obviously loves going for the Blink Stalkers very quickly, and then he loves building the Prism, or the units, rather, with that Warp Prism inside of the main base of the opponent. I mean, yeah, very clean control, very good micro. Game number 2, though. What are we going for, Mr. Gape? The biggest of Gapes, Mr. HeroMarine, building his very first barracks on the other side of the map. This is not the MaxPax opener. So there is the MaxPax build where you go pylon, pylon, and then into a gateway on the other side of the map. However, this is HeroMarine just building his very first Rex on the other side. There is this nice little jump-up pad on 2,000 atmospheres, where you can have a Reaper go up one stage and then another stage into the main base as well. So I think that MaxPax is gonna have to, yeah, be a little bit careful with that. Not something that I see HeroMarine do all too often, so... MaxPax is going to go into the main base, and he's going to find a whole lot of nothing. The problem is, right, this doesn't really tell the Protoss player a whole lot. He sees the timing of the second gas, but for all he knows, the barracks could be over here. It could be over here, but it could also be like 3 barracks, right? It's very difficult for Protoss at this point to guess what's happening. Quite like this little move, though. Not something that we see all too often. The idea behind this is to try and just simply block a factory from coming up. So NG Bay here, okay, because apparently HeroMarine is now a little bit upset as well about everything being blocked. NG Bay is gonna block the Nexus right here of MaxPax. Both players just trying to be as annoying as possible. Obviously, Terran structures can fly. But since the barracks is on the other side of the map, I've got a feeling that this pylon is not going to be taken care of for a very long time. I mean, you can make a Hellion. Try and hope for the best, I suppose. But yeah, now you're going to have to wall awkwardly around that pylon. Anyways, a Reaper inside of the main base. How many kills can I get? Obviously, this Reaper did arrive a little bit sooner than you normally expected to. There's a Zealot out. Zealot is going to go back into the main base because it was working on the NG Bay on the low ground. NG Bay has been cancelled since... Stalker's gonna pop out, but very good timing here by the biggest of gapes. And he's gonna be able to come back in for more in just a little bit. I actually like the shield battery timing here quite a bit as well. MaxPax will probably be following this up with a Nexus here regardless relatively soon. Just scouting the left side of the map as well, making sure that everything is A-okay. Probe inside of the main base here, scouting what is the resemblance of a wall off here. Factory... with a tech lab on it soon, so he can go for either a Cyclone or a Siege Tank. I think that will eventually be the end of this pylon block, but already, MaxPax sending the units across, going for the Nexus on the other side of the map, and we'll see shortly what kind of tech he wants to go for. He's currently, by the way, supply blocked, and obviously once the pylon falls over here, the supply block is going to be even worse. Okay, he did just finish up a pylon at home, but, yeah, you do want to be careful here. This happens every once in a while when you play Protoss, where you know, are trying to be very cheeky with your pylon on the other side of the map. You're like, haha, I got him blocked. And then they just kill it and you hit like a 2-minute long supply block. Just me? Alright, anyways. Once again, Twilight Council here from Mr. MaxPax. Yeah, the way that Max is playing here so far in this series reminds me a lot of Parting. I know that Parting has to start his mandatory military service pretty soon. I'm pretty sure Parting as well mentioned that he's not really participating in any tournaments anymore anytime soon, so that's a little bit of a shame. It's actually a strange time to be a Protoss fan in general. So obviously Trap did very well in 2021, especially in like the first half or so of the year. But a lot of the very good Protoss players are currently in the military. So, yeah, with Parting going into the military soon as well, and there's guys like SOS, like Stats. I think Zest also has to start up his mandatory military service pretty soon. It's a bit of an awkward year for Protoss. I mean, unless MaxPax can like magically start winning tournaments, and you know Trap might win a couple as well, it might be a bit of a tough year for Protoss in general, just because the best players that they have are, yeah, forced to do their mandatory military service. And before all of the tournaments at the end of the year are going to be Terran versus Terran, Zerg versus Zerg, and Zerg versus Terran. That would be a little bit disappointing, I suppose. Anyways, that definitely, that chance definitely does exist. Let me actually pull up the list real quick on Aligalek of the current best Protoss players in the world. So, we do have a couple of Reapers, by the way. I'm all tapped out, but we see, yeah, standard third base, couple of Reapers trying to be annoying. All right. So for Protoss, the list currently goes, according to Aligalek, again, take it with a grain of salt, but the list goes Zest, MaxPax, Showtime, Trap, Hero, Zaun, Estrella, Classic, Creator. So obviously, Classic is back. Hero obviously also returned, so that's nice. Both of those players are very good. But they don't really seem to be in, like, championship, you know, level right now, or at that level just yet. There's a full wall off here for Max. Prison once again coming up. Do you think it's possible, by the way, we're gonna see an entire series featuring MaxPax where he doesn't go for the MaxPax? Right? Like literally the build that he's been named for, or named after, or actually no, that build that's named after him. I think it was Beastie Cutie who posted a video about that in like 2018 or so. Where he was basically just shouting, "It's the MaxPax! It's the MaxPax build!" Over and over and over again. So the MaxPax build is where you go pylon inside of your main base, and then a pylon on the other side of the map with a gateway. Where it's so weird. Pylon into pylon doesn't make any sense theoretically, but it works out perfectly in a lot of the games because of the way that Terrans like to play. Anyways, a little bit of damage right here being done. Okay, good control once again. Prism is going to be needed at home, though, and that is 3 siege tanks currently riding towards the other side of the map. I mean, there are some absolute killer positions that you can go for with those tanks on this map. Once they're in range of the Nexus, I mean, how are you going to break this? There's the battery overcharge. Okay, we do see a huge overextension there as well on that Prism. 4th siege tank now available as well. Gabe is actually even target firing right here with those units. That is a dead Nexus for sure. Right? There's no way that Nexus is gonna live, and HeroMarine grabs a massive advantage. Upon seeing how that fight went, he decided to press the all army hotkey as well and bring the rest of the units towards the other side. I mean, that Prism was somewhere over here and it just simply got killed very easily. So if you know that the Prism isn't out there anymore, you can just, yeah, bring every single one of your Terran units towards the other side of the map. And HeroMarine says, don't mind if I do. He's a big fan of just simply setting his rally point towards the other side, and well, then you get sometimes little moments like that aren't quite ideal. Anyways, not sure if you can necessarily win the game here just yet. Maybe once again, a bit of an overextension. Those siege tanks are very precious. But, I mean, not again, right? Right, guys? 3rd CC is very late. This game is actually not over yet. I think the game did actually overextend a little bit. There goes the Prism once again. 3rd Nexus is being rebuilt at the 12 o'clock. Terran did delay their own 3rd base for a while. No, not again. Not again. So there's barracks number 4 and 5 coming up. Deja vu, anyone? There's no way, dude. You can't go in there. All right. Oh, HeroMarine. You can see that he's feeling a little anxious there, right? That stim was way too early. Luckily, there are a couple of medivacs now, but that stim definitely, or that stim rather, on those units definitely kind of signals, at least maybe I'm looking into this a little bit too much or a little bit too far, but yeah, it does signal some stress to me, right? Where he's like, oh no, he's coming, kill him! And then, you know, the Protoss units just walked away. Anyways, they've been taking a trip around the map. 2 Zealots inside of a Prism so far. There is a missile turret over here coming up, but there's a nice little location right over here for a big warp-in. Obviously, you can also just try and bring them down towards the low ground here. 1 SCV will be killed. There's that warp-in. Terran unit's currently baited towards the 3rd base. Or, I'm assuming we're going to see a warp-in. Are we not? Probably not, no. He can't really commit with these units just yet. Storm is coming up, but the 3rd Nexus has indeed now finished up. Worker-wise, by the way, this is still looking really good for HeroMarine. Supply-wise, like everything-wise, basically, right? This game is looking really good here for HeroMarine, but Protoss, obviously, like I said, they have many ways to pull rabbits out of a hat. Disruptors are one of them, but a good storm can definitely change the tide of the game very quickly as well. Terran doesn't really have such tricks. I guess they have, you know, Widow Mines, right? Widow Mines can be pretty good. You can have some good Ghost EMPs as well, so there's the Ghost Academy coming up for that Ghost transition. Gabe actually a little bit late right there on the armory, meaning that +2 hasn't started up yet. We don't have any upgrades yet, though, for a Protoss player here at all, so there's the Storm. Okay. Not entirely expected. Probably not enough there to really deal that much damage. At the same time, the Zealots have marched on over towards the Natural Expo. Good control right here by the Terran player, backing off towards the safety of that ramp. Try and negate as much of the surface area of this this Zealot army as possible. Even a Viking right there landing too, trying to deal some damage. Okay, here's the majority of that Terran army once again moving forward. Good splits here by Gabe, although he does eat a relatively big storm. Yeah, I think there's way too much right now for HeroMarine to you know, there's no way, right? He's not gonna lose this, right? I mean, his supply count has just simply been steadily climbing. There's another observer getting into a good spot. Now Widow Mines are added into the mix, though. Wouldn't be surprised to see, yeah, indeed, +2/+2 coming up, and then the Ghosts very soon as well. I mean, he could wait. If he wanted to be very safe, he could wait until he's, like, at 2/2 upgrades and then push with a maxed out army. That's maybe a little bit too safe, you know? That's the double condom approach. Probably a bad idea. Anyways, I think he does want to go, dude. I think he should just... Yeah, okay. So we're gonna... He's respecting it a lot. He doesn't want to be 2-0 behind. Alright, so here's a big drop inside of the main base. Storms. Okay, prism. Oh, God. Widowmine a little bit late right there on the burrow, so not quite gonna happen. Okay, there's one big storm. Second big storm. Storm does not stack, Mr. MaxPax. Yeah, no way. Siege tanks on the low ground, still having a blast as well, literally. Although I like this. A couple of units loaded up in there, but the Marauders there. On the low ground, ready to intercept it. We're going to game number 3. Hey, Mr. HeroMarine, don't even think about it, okay? Let the poor puppy just sit here and sniff at your mineral line, okay? Anyways, game number 2 going a little bit better right there for HeroMarine. Obviously being 2-0 behind in a series, right? Like, he played it very safe after that first attack. Kinda like, you know, failed a little bit. I mean, first off, it got him a huge advantage, and then he overextended a bit, so he played very safe as a follow-up. Being 2-0 behind against MaxPax in a best-of-5 series is bad, right? Then MaxPax just has to win like 1 in 3 games, and the odds of that happening are rather big. So 1-1 here makes a lot more sense for HeroMarine. Honestly, I guess you should be playing relatively safe most of the time. Now, I like this. So this is, what is this, man? Is there like a little tree over here that's pretending to be blocking my vision? Yeah, look, there's like a shaded tree. What a weird, huh? What is this? Anyways, there's like a little weird shimmer thing right here on top of the barracks. Either way, I like this move here from HeroMarine quite a bit. MaxPax is gonna get to the other side of the map. He's gonna scout. He's gonna get flashbacks of the previous game. He's gonna be like, oh no, there's a proxy Reaper inside of my main base. Okay, he's probably not gonna be too concerned about it. But at the very least, this is forcing these Protoss players to play very safely. So clever little move right there for HeroMarine. If he once again decides to drop down a pylon over here, it's not gonna go as well. Zealot comes up already. We did go for the low ground here as well. Cybercore comes up too. Yep, there's the pylon. Second depot over here. And I guess we're gonna go factory and then... Are we even gonna go across the map with the Reaper? Yeah, Reapers are pretty bad, obviously, against structures. And MaxPax will actually find the barracks. I think that HeroMarine should have seen right there as well that it was started, and... This series is a complete deja vu so far. Like a deja vu of itself. Let me guess, it's gonna be a Twilight Council follow-up, and then Gabe is gonna attack with a couple of siege tanks and a bunch of bio to the other side of the map. There might even be a Banshee or two. Ooh, never mind. The deja vu has ended, okay? We've just woken up from our dream. There's a pylon being built right here in the back of the Natural Expo. Reaper is going to be able to get ripped right here of this Zealot. Zealot right there at the very least jumping through the air in joy. HeroMarine might accidentally kite in the direction of that pylon. But I think it should be a couple of shield batter. Oh, no. Well, it's probably still going to be a shield batter or two, but it's going to be a robotics facility right over here. So, yeah, that's where you know you're playing at a high level. When even, like, these weird scenarios, right? Like, this is not a scenario you will play that often. So having one approach in these situations is probably enough. When even in this scenario, though, apparently MaxPax still has multiple strategies that he likes to play. Oh. Pylon right there providing high ground vision, obviously. I was going to say, how is he shooting that one SCV that's building the CC? But he's got the high ground vision here because of that pylon, so the Stalker can still do quite a bit of damage. Gateway comes up as well. This is a complete one base all in. So, interestingly enough, MaxPax really wants this command center to finish. But probably, you know, on his terms if he can. So there's an Immortal coming up. This makes so much sense, actually. This is the MaxPax that I remember, okay? When I first saw MaxPax play, this is what he used to do. Oh, did you see that move? That was almost perfect. So he walked the Adept up on the ramp while shading backwards. And the Widowmine was gonna fire right as the Adept was gonna, you know, teleport away. Does he see it? Oh my god, he still doesn't. Okay, now he sees it. He sees everything. Obviously, the gateway over here, once warp gates are done, which is still a little while away, to be honest. But it's gonna allow a speedy warp in. I think he's probably gonna start juggling Immortals or whatever units he's got with that Prism once it's out. Really needs to get the Observers, or sorry, like the energy, I guess, for the Chrono Boost here. An Observer would not be bad either, I guess, but... Yeah, look, so he's trying to be clever here. Oh, with the shading and the Adept and everything else. Okay, that was a very nice hit, though, by HeroMarine. Good retargeting by him. This is something that Protoss players used to do against Zergs. Love the idea of having the Viking here already, though. Those Vikings are awesome. Obviously, though, the Zerg has Queens available, right? But Terran has Stalkers, so as long as the Viking can be gunned at, this should be okay. Prism, obviously, though, is absolutely critical here, so he's going to start elevating. Is that a verb? It is now. He's going to use the Prism as an elevator to go up and down the Terran's main base, and so far, I'm liking this position for HeroMarine a lot. Second command center is, of course, done. He's pumping out a lot of SCVs here as well. So that means to me, at the very least, that he's feeling pretty good about the whole situation. His income is going to be quite a bit better, right? So that's where, yeah, you can obviously, like, this is a nice little supply depot drop as well. It's one of the things you can easily do. Another depot, though, will be picked off. HeroMarine has been scouting around. Are we going to go for a Nexus on the low ground regardless? Twilight Council is a follow-up, yeah. I think that Max will go for a Nexus on the low ground, but that eco is going to be so late. He kind of has to, right? Like, he's not going to win with the units that he's got right now. Little bit ambitious right here from the biggest of Gapes. Already flying the orbital command towards the low ground. He knows it's not going to happen. Although he's baiting the units right now into the range right there of that siege tank fire, which I like a lot. We did see a bunch of adepts being warped in. I was going to say, are we going to go for glaives? But no, it's going to be the charge upgrade. Siege tank just simply leapfrogging forward one at a time, getting closer and closer towards where that army is. MaxPax trying to buy as much time as possible. Liberator in the meantime, by the way, inside of the main base of that Protoss player, and now one of the Immortals goes down. Second Immortal also gets picked off. I don't know where the Prism is. Did the Prism just get picked off too? Yeah, I guess the Prism was already killed earlier. So, yeah, that's way too much. Okay. Liberator shutting down the production at home. And MaxPax aggression also didn't work out. Alrighty, so we have a 2-1 advantage right now for HeroMarine. So MaxPax used to do these builds a lot back when he was lower MMR. So back when he was like 5'5", 5'6" maybe or so. I know he was hanging around that MMR for quite some time. Those were the kinds of builds that he executed a ton. And I like that he's still mixing it in as well with the pro level, but it just simply doesn't work nearly as well, right? Like, one of the reasons why cheese is not super common at the pro level is exactly of what HeroMarine did just now. So the problem is that at the tippity top of the skill level, they will know exactly what it is they need to do in order to defend against it. Now, obviously, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of types of cheese, and all of them do require a slightly different approach. But in theory, if you defend everything perfectly, you're gonna end up being ahead. And that was a good example right there for our Terran player, I suppose. Like, he saw it at the absolute latest possible time, other than, like, not seeing it at all, and he still responded accordingly. He had himself a second command center done, just simply dropped the mules, took it calm and collected, and then sent the Liberator towards the other side of the map. It was clever play there for, from our Terran player, not really taking a whole lot of damage at home, and even though there was a good try there, and I would say a weaker Terran player, right? Like someone below, like, I don't know, 6k MMR or so, probably would die to that Protoss pressure, or at the very least would be significantly behind. HeroMarine showed us how you're supposed to defend it, and, well, if you struggle against that one in particular, just do exactly what HeroMarine did, guys. It's easy. Just position everything perfectly. Anyways, this time around we are on Glittering Ashes. Glittering Ashes, of course, a very large map. Usually we do see macro on this map, but obviously Protoss can still warp in, right? They can still bring units towards the other side of the map very quickly. No! Why? Why are we killing all the... I'm pretty sure if you ask HeroMarine about it, he's probably gonna give you a actual reason. He's not just angry at the cleaning bots. I think he probably doesn't want to get blocked, which is also why he doesn't kill them on the other side of the map. I'm pretty sure, I know that, like, I think it was Euthermal that tweeted about this a little while ago, that every once in a while when he does, like, a proxy Reaper cheese, he goes into the main base of the opponent and he accidentally attack moves on top of the cleaning bot. And he was complaining about it on Twitter. And the same can be said, I guess, for, like, putting down structures. Say the cleaning bot is right over here right now. MaxPax wouldn't be able to, like, complete this wall off, right? Which I think is the reason why HeroMarine is angrily killing all of the cleaning bots and I guess things around his base. To be fair, the map makers did go a little bit crazy with adding a whole lot of those little critters around the main this time around with these maps. Either way. Can you kill these as well, by the way? I wonder what happens if you storm them. By the way, we haven't seen a single Colossus yet. Have we seen a single Ghost? I know we saw a Ghost Academy, but did we see Ghosts? Not exactly sure. We haven't seen a Colossus yet either, which is also kind of funny. Anyways. MaxPax definitely in a bit of a tricky scenario. This is where HeroMarine is obviously also far more experienced, so he's probably feeling pretty comfortable about this. Okay. One Marine goes down. Second Marine, okay, also goes down, but they managed to get the kill right there on the Adept. Is that worthwhile? Yeah, kind of. Alright, so, Robo Facility. Coming up here. Once again, we had that Twilight opener, of course. So, not a single Stargate. We haven't seen a single Stargate unit yet. Can you believe that? As far as HeroMarine's build goes, this is the build that I recommend every single Terran player that is new to the game to play. This is the good old triple barracks, right? You can do this in Terran vs. Terran, you can do it in Terran vs. Protoss, you can do it in Terran vs. Zerg even, right? We've seen this build quite a bit in TVZ recently. You might want to make a couple of adjustments here and there, but the general gist of this is that you push out as soon as those upgrades finish up. So he is going to go for an NG Bay, which is a little bit later. You can also do it so that your +1 infantry weapons is finishing up at the same time as Stimpack and Combat Shield. But this basically just allows you to hit the opponent in the face with a classical timing attack right when these upgrades finish up. Now, maybe HeroMarine is not actually going to go for an attack, just because he knows that his opponent is likely going to be going for one himself, and he's, yeah, very good at figuring out what the Protoss opponent is going for. But if you're a Terran player on the ladder, maybe you're new to the game, I recommend you attack every single time. Like, you want to start moving out right around right now. You attack every single time when those upgrades finish. You might not even want to go for the third base. You might just want to go straight for the natural expo and just go kill him. Because if you have enough stuff, I mean, look at the amount of army that Terran has at this point. We're only 5 minutes into this. If you have enough stuff, this can just straight up win you the game. Very expensive stim right here. Keep in mind, there's no medivacs or anything like that. I feel like you just high ground hide. High ground hide? Guess that's a thing. Problem is, if you obviously don't have any, what is it called? Like medivacs to heal up the Stimpack damage. Every single stim kills like 20% of your own army, as far as the hit points go, anyway. Okay, so there's finally the factory coming up. Marines already in the corner of the main base. Max, don't get greedy. Okay. A lot of Terran players will, or sorry, a lot of Protoss players will like shift Q the Prism into the main base and then shift Q it so it immediately goes into that facing mode where you can warp in units. MaxPax being a little bit faster than that. Actions per minute wise, you can see that both players are sitting solidly into the 300s. Keep in mind, there's like no Widow Mines here or siege tanks or anything along those lines. Blink is done. Charge is going to finish up pretty soon as well. These Marines probably will also not be able to achieve that much. Can I at least kill the Probe? No. Probe is right here, laughs in the face of danger. He doesn't care too much. MaxPax does have a lot of units over here, though. I mean, he can get a lot of units over here, rather. He's going to go for the, okay, the Templar Archives Storm upgrade, and we're just going to go for 1,000,001 gateways. How many gates are we on? So we're currently on only 3, actually, so he's just adding on a couple more at this point. I figured we were already on a couple more here, but that's just gateway 4, 5, and 6. MaxPax, once again, forced to go up against a huge Terran army. Only the first 2 medevacs right now are coming up. It's just Marine Marauder for now. Third Command Center has also begun building. Storm is available, though, in like 20 seconds. Okay. High Templar once again hiding inside of that Warp Prism. There's the battery overcharge as well. Very nice tool to have. Actually, is it only... Yeah, no, it is 3 High Templar. Thought for a second it was like 1 High Templar there and then 2 Stalkers. If it's only a single High Templar, that would be a little bit... I mean, this is one storm away, though, from being an absolute disaster here for Gabe. If HeroMarine takes one big storm to the face, it's basically game over. Okay, he's looking for it. He hasn't shown the High Templar yet. So at this point, I think this is the first time HeroMarine sees them. That's a lot of damage that the Terran player just took. Widow Mines, okay, in the back over there. Maybe trying to get a couple of good hits. A few Archons now added into the mix as well. Careful now. Ooh, if the High Templar wander into that Widow Mine, that would be something. Okay, that was still a good amount of damage though. That was like, what, 2 Stalkers and a Zealot? HeroMarine's like, okay, let me get some more of that. A few more Widow Mines here are burrowed in key positions. Okay, Observer over there though. Does spot exactly what's going on. Okay, decent hit over there. Okay, the army of the Terran player is growing fast though. Big warp in over here. Isn't it cool how like all of these basic units are actually so helpful still? Oh, huge storm! Anyways, just like Marine Marauder versus like Zealot Stalker, Protoss never really had that option back in the day. They always had to have like the Robotech units, but here we go. Apparently the Zealots are charging forward at whatever they can. Huge storm, or storms rather, are also landing on top of all of this Terran army, and honestly, it looks to me like Max may have just taken a battle, yeah, that just won him the game. All right. So, here we go. The deciders match for today's best of 5 series will be on Hardwire. Curious to see exactly what both of these guys are currently ranked as on the ladder. I know that HeroMarine plays a lot of ladder. No. HeroMarine is currently only ranked with Protoss on the ladder, apparently. Not exactly sure why. But apparently his Protoss is currently 6.3k MMR, which is kind of interesting. And then Mr. MaxPax. MaxPax is currently sitting with Terran at 5.5k MMR, but with Protoss at 6.8, which is pretty impressive. He has, of course, been part of the exclusive 7k MMR club. Both of these players are. HeroMarine oftentimes at the end of a season will have like half a dozen accounts in Grandmaster League in the top 20, or the top 20? I wanted to say top 10 and top 20 at the same time. The top 20. Anyways, he always has a bunch of accounts at the top of the ladder, although currently there is a little bit of drama on the European ladder as well. In case you're unfamiliar, there are a couple of hackers. Not exactly sure why. But, yeah, people that unfairly managed to get their MMR all the way up there. I know there's also currently some drama going on for quite some time already with a lag hacker, which is also pathetic. Basically what they do is, say for example, HeroMarine is streaming some of his own games at the tippity top of the ladder. Someone that he can face off against quite literally manages to inflate his well, I guess his MMR as well, but he manages to inflate his APM so ridiculously high that the game starts lagging. So what happens is, this was happening at some point to Cyril as well on stream. Cyril like got stream sniped by this guy. And Cyril quite literally played a 6-hour-long game against him, where, yeah, all he had to do was go up to a lair and build a spire, and then make a couple of corruptors to kill the command center that the opponent was floating in the corner of the map. But all of this took apparently 6 hours, because nothing actually happens. Like, only like one frame actually comes up every, like, I don't know, 2 seconds or so. It's pretty sad. So a lot of the top level players right now are not actually playing because they can't be bothered. Blizzard, please. Anyways, got ourselves a Twilight Council opener for the 5th time, right? Have we seen this every single game? I think so. All right, MaxPax apparently has found his new favorite. Well, new favorite. He's been playing this for a while, but there's the gateway coming up. This is one of those openers that's really good if you're really good at the game, but really bad if you're not very good at the game. So, like, if I decide to play a Twilight Council opener, right, and I go for the Blink upgrade, there's a very good chance I will accidentally have 2 Widow Mines inside of my mineral line, and then I'll lose everything. Whereas if you see these top-level guys play it, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, Barding has been playing this strategy for years now, and he makes it look kind of broken. Hey, Gabe, psst. I guess he doesn't care about these because there can't actually be anything that they really block. I think they only like hover around this place. I don't think they really go in the direction of their ramp. Yeah, there's a lot of Roombas. I don't know why there's so many Roombas on the current map pool. Or in the current map pool, rather. Anyway. Blink is going to be coming up once again. I'm expecting a robo facility producing a prism and then an observer eventually as well. And we should have ourselves a classical start here to this final match. There's the Widowmine drop. I like Widowmine drops quite a bit in Terran vs. Protoss. It's very strong. Even without the speedy burrow upgrade, you can still buy yourself so much time, especially against someone who is actively putting their units on the other side of the map. Usually that's what you want to do anyways when you go for that Stalker opener. I mean, technically speaking, I guess Blink Stalker is going to be very good against these sort of starts. It's just that people that open up Blink Stalkers, Protoss players, they tend to have their army right over here, ready to blink up into the main base or to pick off any siege tanks or anything along those lines. Stalker right here heading to the left side of the map, trying to see if anything comes in, but he already missed it. So this medevac pilot is soon going to be tasked with blowing up as much as he can. Alright. This can deal a lot of damage. Okay. Response time here is pretty quick. Don't like that too much, to be honest. Yeah, 2 probes right here for a medevac and then 2 Widowmines. Not what you're looking for at all. So good situation here for MaxPax, who's now going to have free reign of the map if he likes to. I mean, obviously, there's always a chance that Terran is still sending out more units, but considering HeroMarine has gone for a Raven, he doesn't have, like, MaxPax doesn't know this, right? But he doesn't really have... No, dude, he did it again! MaxPax is... HeroMarine is just absolutely hating the critters. Anyways, considering he went for the Raven, there's really no way that HeroMarine is going to be moving out anytime soon. Other than with maybe the Raven to throw up a couple of auto turrets. But I think it's going to be up right here for our Danishman to deal some damage. Okay, that's as much damage as those Widowmines did. Except the Stalkers managed to get out of there. Siege tank also very exposed. Could have probably gotten the kill, but at the cost of a couple of the Stalkers at least. It's a bit dangerous. Storm upgrade once again coming up. Storm! Hold up, let me show you this. So this is a YouTube video from 2012, Grubby vs. Star Eagle, by a Italian caster called Vasa. Now, I don't think he really casts a whole lot of games anymore, but I love the way that he says Storm.
Killaso del Templare. Andiamo avanti, 183 a 104, poi svengo, Storm buttare via, Storm in faccia, cazzano davanti Storm, maledizione, abbiamo perso tutto davanti Storm, ma che è sta roba?
Anyways, proper potato quality, by the way. I mean, I'm spoiling you guys with the 4K. Anyhow, I had to think of that for some random reason. Storm! Maybe I should start pronouncing it like that as well. There's something beautiful though, right? About, you know, Italian casting. Every once in a while, I like to tune into the O-Gaming guys and like any of the other language casters in Starcraft 2 as well, just because it sounds very beautiful to me. Even though my French is not particularly good and I don't speak any Italian. It's like hearing the Korean commentators, right? The Korean commentators usually go absolutely crazy, and even though I don't really speak any Korean at all, it's still fun to listen to them. And to, yeah, hear the excitement. Yeah, back in the day when I first used to watch StarCraft 2 as well, the main premier tournament that we had back then was the GSO Code S. And in order to watch the GSO Code S, it was hosted by GOM.TV back then. You had to, like, download the GOM browser and then, like, insert this URL into, like, a GOM player. And then the GOM player would like play the stream at like 240p, but with a bitrate that was so ridiculously low that all you could really see was just a bunch of moving pixels. And you would mostly just like listen to Tasteless and Artosis cast StarCraft. It's actually insane. Every once in a while, like when I upload a video in 1080p 60, I see people complaining in the comment section saying, Lowko, oh my god, the video is not 4K! And I just think back about the good old days. Back in the day, we had to go uphill and downhill both ways all of the time in the rain. No. Grandpa Loco with another story. Okay, here we go. Charge forward right here once again with Blink, Ooh God, and Stalkers. That interference matrix, though, by the Raven, preventing the High Templar from being able to actually unload out of that prism. And that threw a wrench right here in the plan of MaxPax. Really cool move. Anyways, Millennial Loco will soon tell you guys about this other urban myth called the Landline. And maybe, if you're very nice, I will tell you the story of dial-up internet. The story of the safe icon. The other day... Okay, well, there's a lot of damage being done here. Can you guys stop fighting for a second so I can tell my pointless stories? I'm just kidding. It's a joke. The other day, I was playing a game on stream called Inscription. And at some point, I loot a floppy disk. And someone in the chat literally said, look, it's the safe icon. Which... I'm 29 years old, but it did hurt my feelings a little bit. That the first instinct was the safe icon and not, you know... Anyways. Colossus is coming up. Would you look at that? Yeah, so this game is definitely not over anytime soon here. MaxPax getting intercepted right there with that prism, not able to lend any sonic storms there. It bought HeroMarine a lot of time to get a decent engagement going. He's at the same time pushing the left side of the map right now as well to try and shut down this fourth base before it even is done. And I think he will be able to successfully pull that off as well. I mean, there are a couple of Archons, but obviously they're very slow. Love this movement as well. Going into the plains, definitely not a bad idea, yeah. There are a couple of Stalkers available, but MaxPax has made the transition right now towards other units. That Prism, though, still being very annoying. Immortal over here trying to walk up the little Reaper patch. That definitely was not ideal at all. And the Colossus does end up going down. That makes this drop all the while worthwhile as well. He's going to once again move on over towards the left side. Medevacs, at least the ones with units in them, will stay alive. Terran army now moving on over towards the third base as well. And this is where HeroMarine is really going to start picking up the pace. Trying to do as much multitasking as possible. MaxPax, though, seems to be relatively calm, right? Another Colossus, though, might pay for this with its life. Yeah, it got picked up there for a second, but eventually not quite enough. Fourth Nexus, once again, reacquired, but that one will be cancelled as well. HeroMarine, though, did lose a lot of units during all of this. I think that this screen was looking a little bit better for the Terran player before all of this shenanigans. But at the very least, he is slowing down the Protoss significantly. Fourth Command Center is going to start up here very soon as well. Relatively late, all things considered. I've got a feeling that probably could have started up a little bit sooner. But now we're going to be seeing our transition. So, Ghosts are probably going to be added into the mix. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of Vikings as well added into the mix as well once he's content with the amount of medevacs that he's got. There's the air weapons upgrade as well for the Terran player, so he's going to be able to get those Vikings to deal some additional damage. In general, against Colossi, they count as both ground as well as air units. You want to have probably about 8 or so Vikings to counter them. Sometimes you can go for some more, but 8 is a decent number. That way, at the very least, you can shoot some pot shots around. I mean, in a straight-up battle, the Vikings technically shouldn't deal that much damage. I like that little move there, too, by the way. Shooting at his own Stalker there for the splash damage of the Colossus to kill the Widowmine. Anyways, technically speaking, in a straight-up battle, it might not be ideal to mix in Vikings, but obviously, realistically, in a lot of these fights, right, the Vikings can kind of like, say the Colossi are walking over here, the Vikings can kind of come in from this angle and get some free hits in, while then backing off again. Since the Vikings can't really be shot at that point by the Stalkers, it can be very effective. Anyways, HeroMarine right now, for all intents and purposes, maxed out. Building 4 Vikings at once, adding Ghost into the mix as well. So Ghost in this matchup, very powerful. Maybe not as powerful as against Zerg, but still very good. In this matchup in particular, did we just see 14 probes go down and I missed it? We did. All right. The speedy burrow is, oh, it's not even research yet. It's just a very slow burrow. I'm just very slow too, apparently, with my observing skills. Sorry for that. What was I going to say? All right, in this particular matchup, EMP is huge. So EMP, it removes the shields out of the Protoss units, but also the energy, obviously, out of the spellcasters. Although, if the High Templar are inside of the Prism and the Prism gets EMP'd, they will remain their energy, or maintain their energy. Okay. So those Stalkers right there, dangerously low. They have to be very careful. Disruptors are added into the mix as well, which I really like. Disruptors are purely cooldown based, meaning that, well, they can still benefit, of course, of or from those... I mean, the Terran player can still benefit, I guess, with those EMPs against the Disruptors as well, just to remove some shields, but it's not like you can prevent them from firing. The Disruptors are just simply based on a cooldown. They don't use energy to do anything, so... EMP is still helpful against them, but it's not gonna negate the Purification Novas. Okay. I do feel like Max is very late with the Forge upgrades in this series so far. Second Fort is coming up as well to try and make it a little bit easier. Storm drop right here. Storm drop on the right side of the map. Killing 8 SCVs, not bad. Here we go. It's a much bigger fight just about to happen. A couple of the ghosts do get force fielded out. Oh my god. Would never say die, they say, but he's already dead. Big Purification Novas right there and good force fields as well by MaxPax. How many ghosts did he get? Yeah, he just got 6 ghosts there. I think the majority of them just died. Ghosts are very expensive units. And very important units as well at this stage in the battle. Not bad. Okay, Robo Facility number 2 is going to be unpowered soon, I guess? No. Might just be killed by itself. Vikings looking for a couple of cheap hits, but the Stalker's already meeting them head-on. Nexus itself instead is going to go down. Okay, one of the High Templar there pops out on the other side of that little crevice, but already the units are out of energy. A couple of the Vikings right now coming in from the side as well, trying to gun down as much as they can. One of the Colossi goes down. Second Colossi also gets picked off here by the Vikings on the right side. Still, though, that was a lot of Terran units here that died as well, and it's not really something that HeroMarine can continue fighting with. Yeah, it's becoming a very even game. Nexus will be rebuilt. Wouldn't be surprised to see another Nexus going down either on the right side or on the left side of the map. Okay. That's a lot of Zealots, by the way. Oh, you know what? I think he might just be able to push. No Planetary Fortress or anything in this position here, and that's exactly what MaxPax decides to do right now as well. Command Center already lifted up as well to try and create a bit more of a concave for the Terran player. Purification Nova does connect right there with a bunch of the units. A lot of damage here being done by the Protoss player, and despite the fact that HeroMarine was like 50 supply up earlier... God, that's a very dangerous ball. Yeah, he is gonna win a couple of fights right here in a row. Is there enough for him to continue pushing, though? Not entirely convinced that that is the case, but those Disruptors are already being very powerful. Good control by MaxPax, man. He really has stepped up his micro quite a bit. I feel like he's noticeably better when it comes to controlling his units than like, I don't know, like 3-4 months ago? Anyways, Command Center that was morphing into a Planetary Fortress also will be denied. Oh. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Parting. He's probably better than Parting at this point, to be honest. Yeah. Super sick. Okay, 29 SCVs, by the way, end up going down. Alright, well, that wasn't the last of them either. HeroMarine desperately trying to keep these units alive. He's been trying to close out the game for a little while already, but he's just losing ghost after ghost after ghost. I feel like every single time one of the Purification Novas go off, I see one of the ghosts getting nipped in the butt. Yeah, it's very expensive, so it was very even just a little bit ago, and you blink once, and the Protoss army tends to blow up, right? So at this point, there's enough Purification Novas or enough Disruptors to continuously roll those balls forward, it seems. It's very difficult for Terran to actually fight. He wants to fight straight up with these Marines and Marauders, but he just can't really afford it. Oh god. Yeah, it's bound to happen, right? It's bound to happen at some point. You make one little misplay, and the Purification Nova will hit you in the face. At this point, Max is actually just looking to see if he can obtain the victory right here, right now. Is there even a prism? No, there's no warp prism or anything. It's very strange. We're just warping in units all the way from home and then walking them across the map. We're already at 6 Disruptors, though, and more are being built. Well, at least just a second ago when I started that sentence, they were. Yeah, see? There's 7 now. Haha! Boss Loco was correct. A couple of Zealots right here on the right side of the map as well. So MaxPax is keeping on the pressure here, making sure that the opponent can't actually mine. There's only mining happening right here at the 12 o'clock position, but HeroMarine's income really is not looking very good here. Look at that. MaxPax is essentially doubling him as far as resources go, although you really don't want to give away your Purification Novas for free. Okay, well, I say that, even though a couple of the Disruptors did end up going down there, one of the Purification Novas did take half of the Terran army with it as well. In the meantime, additional bases were acquired by Max. How many gases does he even have? Okay, so he's got 6 gas, but his gas income is actually very low considering the amount of bases that he's on. This is what we saw Haas do a little bit, right? Haas and Knights from Taiwan were doing this exact build. Or not this exact build, but this very similar approach. Where you make a lot of these Purification Nova guys, right? You get a lot of Disruptors out, and then you just warp in Zealots and Stalkers. Disruptors are actually, I think they're only 125 gas, I want to say. They're relatively light on the gas. Colossi at the very least feel like a significant investment. Anyways. Looks like HeroMarine at the very least did manage to stabilize there. By dancing back and forth, but... More Zealots moving on over towards the right side of the map. Concave right here as well. No High Templar to be seen anywhere anymore, but we are gonna go into 2 Colossi. At this point, there's like no Vikings anymore either, right? No, the Vikings have slowly been picked off. So if the Vikings are gone, then all of a sudden those Colossi can be incredibly helpful. Third base once again shut down. Zealots right here patrolling the top left-hand corner of the map as well, making sure that HeroMarine does not take any additional bases over there. This is a sick game. Very impressive stuff here by MaxPax. At this point, I don't really see exactly how HeroMarine is going to be able to win. There's even a Dark Shrine coming up right now, which I really like. Makes so much sense, right? I mean, very good EMPs though. Purification Nova not going to detonate there because the Disruptor was killed before it could, but there's a couple of Medivac snipes as well. At least some of the Terran units managed to get out of here, but I feel like this is just, yeah, MaxPax rubbing salt in the wound. HeroMarine standing on his last legs, does snipe one more Disruptor here. He's got a small Terran army and a dream, but that dream is quickly becoming impossible. And there it is. MaxPax will win the very first series that I'm posting to the YouTube channel this year. GG's, well played.